this is a quick video on what price searcher graph is all about and how does the price searcher make a decision. Let's use this graph sheet to just kind of look at our typical graph. If I could draw these things straight. Okay, so you would have price versus quantity. So we have a price here, we have a quantity here, and price searchers normally faced with a downward sloping demand line. So this would be the demand line. And price searchers can search their price anywhere here. They can choose to be at one price. They could, let's call this is about $10, like right here. And so that would make this to be a $5, right? So it's 0. So they can choose to be at $10 if they want to be, and then sell only to these customers, however that is, right? So let's call that a 2. So this would be 4, this would be 6, 8, 10. They can sell it to 2 customers only at $10, or they can decide to be at $5 and say, maybe I want to sell at $5. Now they can sell it to 7 customers. But obviously there are some people who are willing to pay 10. They're only paying 10, so 5, so they're getting a better deal. But the price searcher can decide on this line where they want to be. But how do they make that decision? Well, they make that decision based on marginal revenue line. So if I said the marginal revenue line runs somewhere right in the middle. So marginal revenue typically runs about here. And they basically look at what is the extra production that I make and sell, that extra sale gets me. That's all it is. This is the extra sale, marginal revenue that I get. Well, what does the extra production cost me? Well, then we can use a different color line. Let's say marginal cost sort of goes something like that. Then our cardinal principle is always when the marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue, you should stop. So marginal cost equals marginal revenue is like right about here. So this is the production they would make, and they would produce about 3.8 units or something. And the price at which they would sell is not read on this blue line. You should read it on the demand line. So the price would be here. So they would sell it at a price of, I don't know, say $8. So here optimum production would be say whatever this is. Let's call it 5 units. And that price they would sell at would be $8, right? But what is the cost of producing it? Well, marginal cost is about here, right? Somewhere here. That could be, say, $3. But the cost of making these 4 units, I'm sorry, this is not 5, this is 4 units, right? So it's 4 units the optimum production. At 4 units of production, what is the total cost? Well, there is a total cost line. If we had a total cost line, let's say our total cost runs something like this. Let's say that's our average total cost line. Okay, if that is the average total cost line, or I can even use a different color line, let's say green, and my average cost is this line. And if you know marginal cost usually goes to the minimum point of the average total cost, well, now we can see when I produce 4 units of production, right? When I produce 4 units of production, and this is my marginal cost, but my average total cost is about here, somewhere here. So that is my average total cost of producing. Let's call that a $4. Well, you can produce it at $4, and then you can sell it at $8. So then we could just say, well, 4 units produced at an average total cost of $4 and sold at a price of $8, right? So right here, so this is the profit they are basically making on this one. This is an economic profit. If you want to calculate how much that is, well, we know the total profit is equal to price at which they sell, which is $8, minus it cost them about, on an average, $4, multiplied by the number of units they produced is 4 units. 4 units, that's what this is, right? And you would see that's about 4 times 4, so that's about 16. That's the total profit, right? But they are selling everything at one price, at $8 price. All customers are getting $8 price. If anybody wants less than $8, they won't produce. But $8, whoever is willing, that's about 4 people right here. This is one price at which a price searcher decided to sell. But if the price searcher wants to sell at different prices, they can price discriminate. Individually, they can sell one at $10, one at $9, one at $9.50, and so on. They can individually price until their marginal cost is exactly equal to the price at which they can sell it. Anything below that, like right here, they won't sell because the price at which a customer wants it versus what the marginal cost of making that extra one is higher, so they wouldn't do it. But individual price discrimination means they can sell it at different prices to different customers until the marginal cost equals the demand line. But they could also decide to sell it to a group of people at one price. They could say, I want to sell it to this many people, one group, let's call it group A. Maybe they are senior citizens. You sell it to them for, something like $9. Then we could say we're going to choose this many people as group B, and perhaps people with a little lower status, maybe they are students or something, don't have much money, so we can just say I sell it to them for $7. So this way they can discriminate between two groups, A and B, one price set for this group and one price set for this group. So there are so many ways to discriminate. They can discriminate them as groups, they can discriminate as individuals, each individuals, whichever is possible in the marketplace. So when they price discriminate, make sure you understand your marginal revenue line this becomes the marginal revenue line in the case of price discrimination.